Hi, thank you so much for tuning in to Sidewalks Entertainment. I'm your host, Lori Rosales. So today's show is going to be fantastic. Not only do we have some really great music coming up, but we also have a very talented guest who will be joining us. You may have heard or seen his songs on YouTube and all your social media platforms. Some of them including 4x4, Country Business, Flannel, but more notably, his song that he wrote for his wife called Life with You. That's right, Kelsey Hart will be joining us right here on Sidewalks Entertainment. So don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss out. You're watching Sidewalks Entertainment. You've seen some of his music videos right here on Sidewalks Entertainment. I'd like to welcome singer-songwriter Kelsey Hart to Sidewalks Entertainment. Hi, Kelsey. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Lori. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. So, your song Life with You is a widely popular song on YouTube and across social media platforms. This song was a song you wrote for your wife for your first dance as husband and wife. Now, at the time, was writing the song for your first dance planned, or was it a surprise on your wedding day for your wife?
So it wasn't planned, as a first dance song. She definitely was the inspiration behind the song for sure. But it was, it was another 3 years, after that we got engaged. So, and, as far as it being a surprise for her, it was actually kind of a surprise to me because she came to me and she said, "Hey, that song that you wrote, a few years ago, I really want to use that for our first dance." So I was like, "Really? I thought that, pretty cool." She wanted to, to use a song that I'd wrote. So yeah, that's kind of how that happened.
Oh, that's so sweet. So, how long did it take you to write that song?
It was a song that I remember going into the write that day, having that idea in my head and wanting to write it and hoping the guys that I was co-writing with was on board. And I feel like we wrote it in probably an hour. It was a pretty quick write that day.
Oh, wow. So I actually let a few people hear that your song for the first time, and I wanted to see, gauge the reaction and whatnot. And so many of them got emotional. Actually, one person actually started crying. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know it's
Oh,
great, right?
and we ain't trying to make people cry, are we?
No, no, it was happy tears.
Yeah,
It was happy
happy to.
tears.
Yeah.
So, Life with You isn't your only song. You have tons of songs that your fans and viewers can check out on YouTube. A few of them including 4x4, Country Business, Flannel. So, how long have you been writing and creating music? And what inspired you to take the big step in pursuing music professionally?
Yeah, so growing up, I've always sang, but I didn't start writing until around 2015 is when I started coming back. 2015, 2016 started coming back and forth to Nashville from Kentucky. Um, but I think for me, like, even as a kid, like I've always just enjoyed being up on stage and singing in front of people. So the songwriting thing was something for me that, not, really an avenue or something that I expected to do. Um, I thought it would just be the singing thing, but once I figured out that hey, you've got to have your own, good songs, to break out and do it on your own, So that was something. The songwriting came later, but definitely always enjoyed being up on stage.
So, do you remember what the very first song that you've ever written was?
The Yes, I do. It was yeah. So I was in a garage band back home, And I remember none of us had a clue what we were doing, but we sat down in the garage and, thought, we were just playing covers, and we thought, man, we need an original song. And so we sat down and we actually, looking back on it, it's pretty funny. We wrote 4 songs, I think, in that like first like day or two. And,
Oh, wow.
now, being in Nashville, we'll write, 100 songs and maybe cut one out of, that many. But back then we wrote 4 and we recorded 4. We just
Oh,
recorded like
wow.
that. Yeah.
So you said that you have always loved country music since you were a kid and you're comfortable performing in front of the crowd. Growing up, who were the music artists you listened to when you were younger?
Yeah, so growing up, it was my dad, he was a big gospel music guy. And so he always had, it was a group called Gold City, a gospel quartet that he had all their CDs. And I remember just as a kid, that was like, that's what I listened to, and so that was, a lot of singing in church, a lot of that gospel music. And it wasn't until up in high school, I guess, that, when I started really getting more into the country stuff. And for me at that point, especially like early high school, Blake Shelton was like, one of my like big inspirations early on for sure.
So, who is the first music artist that comes to mind when you think of a famous music artist you'd love to collaborate with one day?
Yeah, so I mean, I think Blake would be cool, but um,
Yeah, Blake Shelton.
yeah, him. I've always been a huge fan of Brooks and Dunn, George Strait, um,
Hmm.
and in the last couple years, I'm a big fan of Cody Johnson too. So any of those guys, if
Nice.
y'all hear this interview, just holler at me.
Exactly. If anybody
Yeah,
is watching, you know who to contact
yeah,
for a really great collaboration. So, when you're not working or songwriting, what do you like to do in your free time?
yeah. So I love to hunt and fish. Do that a lot, and I've got an old truck, '79 Ford that I've bought that I'm putting a lot of time into right now, restoring and trying to get it on the road. So yeah, that's just a few of my hobbies. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, sadly, we are out of time, but Kelsey, thank you so much for taking time to speak with me today.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Everyone, be sure to follow Kelsey Hart on your social media and visit his website, officialkelseyhart.com, for his music and more. Kelsey, you take care.
Yeah. Thank you.
For more full-length celebrity interviews, visit us at sidewalkstv.com, our YouTube channel, and don't forget to follow us on social media.